I know straight away by talking about this topic, I'm going to have a bunch of trolls and scoffers because people can't handle the truth. We all know the Illuminati game cards and what they are. And kind of doing this video is probably going to put my channel again on a censored list again. But it's what you do for this truth. But anyone that studied the Illuminati, these game cards were made by a Pacific person, and it basically, the game cards of all the Illuminati, as I was saying before, once again it decided to end for whatever reason. The devil's not going to stop this truth getting out, it's simple as that, it's already out anyway, but everyone knows what these game cards are. They are agendas, plans of the Illuminati, and a lot of them have come true. It's not predicted, it's not predictions or stuff like that. It's literally stuff that has been planned, that has happened. It's just facts. Anyone that's done research, they admit the government and with technology and science, they have the technology to clone animals. They've already done it, and that's why we're seeing like abomination creatures exist, because they're trying to play God. They've admitted it, that they can clone things. This is not a conspiracy, that you can just go look it up. They've admitted they can clone things. This has been going on since World War II, where it started there, where they tried to clone people. It's not a game. It's just facts. The main one that done it for me will show you, because nobody can deny this one. The main one that done it for me. And as I said, people can scoff at this, laugh at this, really could care less, because it's the truth. This. How do we explain this? People talk about reincarnation. It's not that reincarnation's a load of crap. They're just cloning people. That's a fact. Why does a ancient pharaoh look like Michael Jackson? So anyone that wants to say this is a conspiracy, why does one of the ancient 3,000-year-old mummy look exactly how Michael Jackson looked like? Looks exactly like him. It's just facts. This is a 3,000-year-old Egyptian mummy, and it looks exactly like him. As I said, it's a very real thing. They've admitted they can clone animals, they can clone people through, all they need is DNA. They admit it in movies, they admit it in TV shows, it's not a joke. People can just laugh and scoff at it all they want, because they literally could care less. Because it's the truth. How do you explain this? There's not it's not they have reincarnated. It's DNA. That's all you need for cloning, DNA. There's no saying this is fake either, because it was found. Also, Barack Obama. Why was they a... Just want to do something a minute. Why did also another pharaoh, an Egyptian, look like Barack Obama? Because remember that when he went in that cave, he said, "Hey, that looks like me." Explain it. Because it's just straight up facts, what I'm saying. And celebrities even admit it. They're not joking around, because this is the penalty that you pay for selling your soul. That's the way it works. And the Illuminati have said it for over more than 13 years. This is what happens. You sell your soul to the occult. They give you fame, fortune, money, women, life of luxury. And then if you decide, hey, I now want out, we know what happens. It's not a conspiracy, it's just facts. They did it to Michael Jackson. Because if you look at the original Michael Jackson and then compare it to when he went white, it doesn't look the same. Yes, he had plastic surgery, obviously, but why does he look like a Egyptian pharaoh? I mean, seriously. But again, the truth can be admitted in plain sight. We know he controls the world, and now people are just waking up and realizing that, who controls the world. It's too late though, because they've dominated the world for the last generation, so it's too late to wake up now. It's too late to wake up and realize who controls this entire face of the earth. They control the banks, they control the money, they control the industry, they control the movie industry, they control Hollywood. It's just a fact. Go look up all the people that control Hollywood and who controls the banks. So there's no saying to me this is a conspiracy, because again, the Rothschilds, they control the banks, and we know exactly what they are and who they are. But I can't mention it for obvious reasons. But yes, this is a very real thing. Because it's not, oh, some people just look like someone. What Michael Jackson looked like a 3,000-year-old Egyptian, I highly doubt it. That's over 3,000 years. No, it's called, they take DNA and clone people. And then when they're done with them, because we've seen that Michael Jackson was like, hey, I want to get out, we know what they did. Oh, they'll just reprogram you. Why do you think celebrities like Britney Spears constantly had a mental breakdown over and over again? People are just like, oh, she's just mentally insane. No. These people were programmed. And if you want to say that monarch mind control is a conspiracy, the CIA have done it since World War II, and they did it on soldiers. The German soldiers, the Nazis as well, did human experiments on their own men. They tried to turn their eyes different colours. They did experiments on them. It's facts. It's all documented what the Nazis did. And the CIA carried it on through monarch mind control, which is, they admit it in many movies, Alice in Wonderland. That is mainly what monarch mind control is. Creating false realities, false worlds, through trauma. And this is what they do. They program people, and this is the price that people pay for selling the soul. This is what happens. You sell your soul, and if you want to get out the industry, this is what they do. This is just a fact. Because again, there's no way to explain this. All people are saying when they see this, they're like, oh, this is fake, because they can't accept that the people that control this entire world are some of the most evil people to ever exist. These are the people that rule over this earth. And it's a fact. They control the banks. Half of the stuff that's been exposed, that's nothing. We've been saying it for years, but again, every American that's brain dead and asleep, you're just now realizing what everyone said for the last decades. But you ignored it, scoffed at it, but now that you can't, I even said it years ago, now that you can't ignore it, and you have to accept reality, now you're accepting it. Because you've got no choice to. Because now it's become a reality. And it's going to further become a reality when everything is brought to light and everything is exposed. When everything to do with certain files is exposed, and then you see further how corrupt and evil the people in power are, and how corrupt your governments are. But again, you'll never wake up to that, because they could openly admit in plain sight what they do and what they're about, and you'll just think it's a joke. They do it through comedy. They say, oh, we worship the devil. They're not joking. They're saying it in a joking way, because brain dead idiots will just be like, oh, it's just a joke. But it's just a fact. So we go back to as I said, there's many cards. There's even one for Donald Trump. So again, stop voting for Donald Trump. Stop voting for the damn politicians, because they're part of the agenda. Wake up to reality. Why is the 2 game cards for clones? For cloning facilities, and you noticed it's exactly how you claim people are conspiracy theorists said it was. Because again, they're actually doing it. And they've got the technology. They've had this technology for decades. But again, they'll publicly come out one day, tell you, hey, we can clone humans, when they've already been doing it for decades. They have the technology to do it. They can clone DNA, replicate DNA. How do you think they're able to clone animals? They're able also as well, they're also able to create fake meat that looks real. There's no such thing as, that's why you gotta understand as well, there's no such thing as reptilians. There's no such thing as this crap where all the reptilians and stuff like that, these celebrities, it's BS, that's what it is. There's no such thing as reptilians, the Anunnaki, stuff like that. These people are just puppets that sell their soul, and this is what happens. This is the price to pay for selling your soul. But there's a game card, they're coming out of a cloning facility, they've been cloned. Because it's facts. It's literally facts. These are not all basically, oh, they're just joking cards. No. I just want to do something a minute. Just mute. Oh, yeah, and as I said, people should start supporting the content as well because this is the truth. I see that people ain't supporting it again, which isn't really a surprise because we're in those times where people just want to hear what they're told. So there's 7 people in here. If you don't like the content, leave. We see it again, another one. Yeah, you see what I said? There's multiple. There's free game cards for cloning, copy shops, which means they've cloned themselves 3 times. They're laughing at you. They're literally laughing at you. I mean, wake up to reality, and you got these people like, oh, these celebrities are robots and stuff like that. No, that's a load of crap as well. Explain the instance when Eminem, because Eminem's a victim of it, of mind control. Just look up where he was just sat there, zoned out for about almost nearly 5 minutes. He completely zoned out like he was a robot. And he's even admitted this is the price that you pay for selling your soul. It's not a joke and it ain't a game. You've been told by celebrities that they do it. Celebrities can openly come out and tell you that the people above that control the industry are doing these things, and you'll just see it as a joke. I mean, even Jim Carrey even admitted it. He told you they were doing this, and you've seen it as a joke. You've seen it as a joke because that's what they do. They do it in a form of mockery because they know you're idiots. A lot of the generations of today are morons, and that's a fact. They'll openly tell you that they're doing this. They'll openly tell you, hey, just like I said with the Luciferians and the people that are in power, they can openly say, hey, we poisoned an apple here, we're going to give it you, and if you we've just told you it's poison, but if you eat it, then that's your own fault. That's what the Illuminati are doing. They're telling you what they're doing, and you're not even listening. They are telling you, they told you about 9/11 for years, and you thought it was a joke. That's what they believe. The Luciferians, that's actually what they believe. That they can put their agenda in plain sight, tell you straight up what they're doing, and if you don't see it, they believe that you deserve it. And exactly. People can just see it as a conspiracy, like I've said, because you have to be awake. They are openly admitting on a daily basis, Donald Trump as well, all these politicians, many people are raging, stuff like that, because of what Donald Trump is associated with and stuff like that. This is all that's always who they've served, and you've just now finally realized that they don't care about you. As it said, the kings of this earth have one agenda. They serve the devil. And now everyone's waking up. The truth is being revealed. Everyone's being exposed for what they are. And we're seeing it. Everyone's involved in it. And welcome to the stream. So there's no denying this. There's one game card here talking about clones where it's they're admitting that they clone people. That's one. Then we have another one where this person's in a tank, which is exact. Now, if you look up, can't go into great detail, but there was a person called Donald that talked about stuff like this. They talked about cloning facilities in an underground base, which is facts. The elite do that. The elite have underground bunkers, underground, preparing. They have thousands upon thousands of food, and they have these underground bases. And you're probably asking yourself, why have they made these bases? Because again, these elites and these rich, these elitists believe that they can hide underground when Armageddon happens. And it even says that in Revelation. It says, help us, let the rocks fall on us and hide us from him that sitteth upon the throne. The Rothschilds, the Illuminati, think that they can hide underground in these little bunkers like you see in Fallout, where they have the vault. That's what the elite have got built. They hide underground because they actually think that they can outsmart God and they can survive the apocalypse. That's really what they believe. Why else would you be creating underground bunkers? Because they're preparing for whenever it happens. And even the scripture in Revelation says they'll be crying, hide us from, let the rocks fall on us, which means these underground bunkers, they'll think they're safe, and the rocks will just fall, and there's no way out. The rich do a lot of stuff. They control the world. But look, read what it says. It says, give 4+ on any attempt to control a personality, which is through monarch mind control. These celebrities that have come out and said, hey, because there's many that have resisted against the Illuminati, but they've realized what they've done. They've realized that what the industry is really about, and they try escape. Michael Jackson was one of them. Michael Jackson tried to escape, tried to expose them, and we know what they did. That's what happens. If you sell your soul and you don't fulfill your agreement, that's what the Freemasons believe. Because that's where it starts. You become a Freemason, you move up the ranks, and the Illuminati is the highest. That's just the fact. The Freemasons are Satanists, are just puppets of the Illuminati. And in Freemasonry, they believe that if you speak out against the Brotherhood, that they have the right to do what they want. That's what they believe. You sign that, they sign that agreement, that contract. And they've admitted it in movies. The movie with Johnny Depp. It shows you what the Freemasons are like. They're corrupt. And it makes you wonder. Like the person Jack the Ripper, why was he never caught? And it exposes in that movie that he was a high degree Freemason. And the Freemasons in that movie, the cannibals, there's one guy that's in it that's demonic, that becomes demonically possessed. And obviously in the movie, Johnny Depp exposes them, and then gets to the top and realizes who's really behind it. That they were covering and protecting Jack the Ripper. Why do you think they could never catch him? Because he was one of them. Because you really believe that a serial killer like Jack the Ripper could go around slaughtering people and nobody could catch him? Get realistic, he was one of them. But yeah, these game cards, they're just laughing at you. They're admitting to you they do it. They'll clone you and get rid of you. Many artists, like I said, have talked about this. Many that have talked about this, and there's many celebrities that have openly come out and said, but you'll see it as a joke. They've said, I'm a clone. You'll probably think they're joking. And it's not what you think in the movies. It's basically they just clone, replicate the same human. But they can program this one that they've cloned. Just think of the robot, like the robots in Alien. They can easily be programmed, manipulated. It's just facts. It really is just facts. That's the real truth about the industry. And one guy talked about it. Don't know what happened to him, but it wouldn't surprise me if something happened, because everything that guy said connects to these Illuminati game cards. Because he said that they have these underground facilities, which wouldn't surprise me if the underground facilities are in places like Area 51. It wouldn't shock me. Because you got to think that place, or it's probably the Antarctica. Because places like these that are heavily guarded would make sense. But yeah, they can clone animals. It's a fact. They've already done it and they've admitted it. They've replicated food. So if they can clone animals, it's very obvious they can clone humans. DNA. Because there's actual proof where they actually have cloned animals. There is actual proof. There's been stories about it. There's been news articles about it. So yeah, they do it. But again, people just see it as a joke. When there's like free game cards talking about cloning. This card permits you to play from your hand a personality which duplicates one who has been assassinated. It adds up now. This is exactly what celebrities have said. This is exactly what that guy said. Can't go into great detail. This is what happened. Michael Jackson. This is what they did. They ruined his life because he wanted to get out of the Illuminati and he was going to expose Sony. So they got rid of him. This is what they do. It's not a conspiracy. It's facts. They did it to people like Tupac, because Tupac wasn't like the rest of the rappers. He actually promoted some music that was actually meaning. So they couldn't have that now, could they? They had to get rid of him. Wake up to reality. Michael Jackson tried to warn you about what was really going on, and you still didn't listen. He told you Sony were corrupt. And who's really in power? Again, John F. Kennedy warned you. He warned you, said there is people behind this administration that rule. they took him out. And they lied. We all know that he was not assassinated by who they say it was. We know exactly who it was. It was leaked who really did it. That's what happens. You go against their order, or you would go against them. That's what the Freemasons believe. So yeah, all the people out there that think it's cool to sell your soul to the devil, this is what you are getting involved in. The industry is very evil. Well, hence why do you think we got so many people involved in those files? It goes higher than that, and it goes deeper than that. You don't want to know what they do in Hollywood behind closed doors. The movie that exposed what they really do was heavily edited. The guy that made the movie Eyes Wide Shut, they heavily edited that movie. They cut out many scenes because it exposed too much of what the elites do. So they couldn't have that now, could they? And even when the movie released, they heavily edited it still. And that movie admits what they do. They do these rituals, they go to these parties. Footage was already leaked. There's a video online on YouTube, very accessible, of a leaked footage of a Freemason lodge. What they're doing in it. It was leaked. There's footage on YouTube, that's if it's still on. Shows you what they do. But it's all a joke and a game. Just go look up what the Freemasons believe. They openly tell you. They openly tell to the public what they believe. Go read their books. Go read the Freemason books. Go read their version of the Bible. They openly tell you what they worship, and yet people say it's a conspiracy. They openly admit what they do and who they worship and everything that they do. The word conspiracy anyway was made before 9/11. So anyone that questioned it would be labeled a conspiracy theorist, because that's all the government can do. They just label people conspiracy. That's why they created the word, and the word conspiracy was made by the same people that control this world. There's a game card for that, where it says conspiracy theory, and it has the Illuminati. So it's not a conspiracy. And exactly, but he's one of them. He's one of them. Also, again, the YouTuber that is now in partnership with the Rothschilds, well, the Rockefellers, same thing, really is same thing. They're all the same. But I said it. All these millionaire YouTubers, they're part of the agenda. They're all sellouts. They've all sold the soul. So why people are shocked that he is partnered with a company called Rockefeller. Also, again, I've mentioned it before, there's a certain guy that calls himself an independent rapper, and their name's Rockefeller. And anyone that says they're an independent rapper and they're a millionaire is one of them. That's just a fact. There's even an artist on this site that claims he's independent and yet throws up the devil horns. They create non-copyright music, claim they're independent though, yet they throw every Illuminati hand sign up. They're one of them. This is why you got to wake up. Anyone that says they're not one of them, they most likely are one of them. Because that's the first thing that they'll say to deceive you. They're like, oh, I'm not one of them. I'm independent. Yeah, you're really independent when you're a millionaire and you've got millions upon millions of followers. If you weren't one of them, they wouldn't let you get that big. That's just a fact. They'd only let you get that big if you were secretly one of them. That's why you got to wake up to reality. It's all controlled. The media is controlled. Every single site is owned by the certain individuals. Can't mention who it is, but we know who it is. And people are just now realizing that and waking up. They do these things. I honestly believe that they cloned Michael Jackson. That's what I believe. Because people don't seem to understand. A clone is a replica of yourself. It's going to do the exact same things that the first one did. It's not going to change. All it means is they can just program this one. As I said, many celebrities have joked about it. They're like, oh, I've got a clone. They're not joking. They're just laughing at you. This goes on. But they won't tell it to the public, but they will one day. One day they'll eventually come out and say, we've got the technology to clone him. They'll come out and say it. But they've already had the technology for decades. But they'll just tell you that they just invented it. The game cards don't lie. They're doing it. They're cloning people and then using monarch mind control. And then when they break free from the monarch mind control, that's when you see them start having mental breakdowns. Again, we seen with Kanye West. He started having mental breakdowns. People just said it was mental illness. It wasn't. He started having mental breakdowns because if you noticed in a lot of his songs, he started saying some stuff that probably the Illuminati didn't want people knowing. And they reprogrammed him. Because go look up CIA, MK Ultra programming. Go look it up. It's been proven that people break from the programming and they start having psychotic meltdowns. That's exactly what Kanye West did. Started calling himself Jesus because he's mentally broke, and then started promoting a lot of stuff. He just went nuts. Because it will drive you nuts. You're mentally being programmed. They do it to soldiers. And that's a fact. They admit that they do it on that. They do it to soldiers that have served in the military. They program them to be killers. I mean, what do you think the army's about? They program people to basically be killers. That's what the whole military is about. It's why they go through the training that they do. They're programming you. That's what it is. And it's a known thing that they did it in World War II. Hitler did it. And that's why anyone that says, oh, Hitler was the good guy, is clearly deceived. Hitler was a master manipulator, just like the politicians of today. They're all liars and deceivers. Hitler experimented on his own man, and it's public knowledge. This isn't a conspiracy. There's many experiments that the Nazis did and that a lot of the Germans did on a lot of people around that time. They did a lot of evil experiments. They did a lot of stuff. So it's not a conspiracy from Hollywood or a agenda against the Germans. It did happen. It's actual facts. You can look it up. Same as monarch mind control. It started with the CIA. They carried it on. Then the CIA said they stopped doing it. They didn't. The Illuminati adopted it, and they started doing it. They started programming celebrities to do their agenda. And then if they broke free from that mind control, they'd reprogram them. And they do it from a very early age. There's also the thing that goes around. That's why you got a lot of these celebrities that are very sexualized. They program them at an early age, and at a very, very early age, brainwash them into normalization of it. We all know what it's called, kitten programming, and they do it. There's many victims of it, and that's why they push it in the industry. And there's many people that have admitted that about clones. They're not joking. And the ones that, not everyone's a clone, obviously, because you got people out there like, oh, someone's facial feature change, or someone's size and the body change. That's not a clone. That is not a clone. A clone is basically identical. You wouldn't really even be able to tell. It's just facts, like I said. It really is. You can just look up. Because again, that's not a clone. Because I've seen many people saying this, that they're a clone. That's not a clone. That's just called aging, and a lot of celebrities have plastic surgery. So this is where people are misunderstanding it. But they do it. I mean, they even admit it in Dragon Ball Z. Because I know a lot of you people watch that. Dragon Ball Z, the cartoon. What did they admit? That they clone humans. I think one of the Dragon Ball Z characters I think isn't Frieza a clone? So they admit cloning. They admit it. It's just a straight up fact. So we have free game cards. But this is the nonsense that they promote here. They promote they say the reptilians, they're the Illuminati. No, they're not. If you knew anything, you'd know exactly who the Illuminati is. You'd know exactly who they are. It isn't reptilians. There's no such thing as reptilians. There's no such thing as these reptilian eye people. That's just called demonic. If somebody shows forms of like a lizard slit eye, that's called demonic possession. Which again, that's what a lot of these celebrities are involved in. They've admitted that they became demonically possessed. They allow an entity to take over their body, and then they can't get rid of it. So that's another thing. A lot of these things, a lot of people are demonically possessed. So it's just straight up facts. Now, with Eminem, I highly doubt Eminem's a clone. I mean, get realistic now. He looks exactly the same as he looked when he was in, before he went in rehab. So this is where it becomes dumb. So they've admitted that they can, will even show you that animals are being cloned. Go to this. So they do it. They clone food. The Bill, people like Bill Gates have admitted that they can clone food. They can clone. They've even admitted that if food supply runs out, they can just make artificial animals. But this is all it takes to clone someone. Animal cloning creates a genetically identical copy of an animal, typically using somatic cell nuclear transfer, where a donor cells replaces the in an unfertilized egg, then implanted in a surrogate for development, with famous examples like Dolly the sheep, while it replicates valuable traits in pets, livestock, and endangered species. The process is inefficient, raising concerns and questions about the clone's health. So they admit that they're doing it. They admit they're doing it. They openly, so if they've got technology to create clone animals, they've obviously got technology to clone humans, but they're just not telling you because they want to use cloning for their sick agendas. So yeah, they admit it. So they admit it. It's just right there. They admit that they've cloned animals, including domestic species like sheep, cattle, dogs, cats, and horses, as well as wild species such as the black-footed ferret. Cloning is used for various purposes, including research, genetic engineering, and preserving endangered species, so they can clone animals. They're not actual real animals, they're artificial. They're just cloning these animals. So if they're admitting to you publicly that they are straight up cloning these animals and telling you straight to your face, what's the limit? They've cloned monkeys, they've cloned horses, and they've also there's so many. The first animal ever cloned was a tadpole in the 1950s. So yeah, this isn't a conspiracy, it's a fact. They've got the technology to clone stuff. And they admit it in movies, they just laugh at you because they are doing it. So again, many. A camel, a brown rat, a coyote, a domestic cattle, a cat, a ferret. So yeah, they've been doing it for a long, long time. And they have created abominations as well. They've done cloning experiments and it's gone wrong. And that's why we see these animals. There's videos online with sheeps with dogs' faces, because obviously it's what they tried to do is mix DNAs. This is just exactly like what the Nephilim were doing. They're trying to play God. The Nephilim, we all know what they were doing, and no, they were not fully wiped out. That's a thing that Christianity doesn't understand either. The Nephilim were not fully wiped out. There's a lot of corrupt DNA from the Nephilim that probably still is on Earth. Hence why we got giants. Still, we got people growing to like 10 foot tall, and they don't stop growing. It even says that the Nephilim were not fully wiped out during the flood, because they weren't. They survived it. And what proves that, anyone that says, oh, they were wiped out, the giant that one of the Israelites fought, if they were fully wiped out, no giants would have existed. Stuff like Jack and the Beanstalk, it's where they got it from. Giants did exist on this earth, but they just turn it into fairy tales. But they were exactly how they portray them in the movie. They didn't care. It even says that in the Book of Enoch, that they were against animals, they were against humans, they were against everything. They were just destructive. And that's why God did the flood. But again, some of them survived because they were that tall. They survived. And it's a straight fact. Just look at the world. So yeah. And I'll continue to speak about this truth because it's very, very, all the stuff that goes on behind closed doors, even the Most High God says, you wouldn't even want to know. Even God says himself that we really shouldn't be looking for the things that they do. It's endless, the evil things that they do. We'll show another one, because I'm not going to carry on that much longer, but we look at, so Egyptian. Now, if you realize, a lot of the Egyptians, the ones that they mummified, it's very obvious those are the ones that they're cloning. Because how do you explain someone, a mummy from 3,000 years old, probably older than that, looks like somebody that lives in the modern era? It just wouldn't happen. We're talking about 3,000 years old here. And it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the Egyptians had a lot of this technology, because it's been proven that there's something built underneath the pyramid that they said it's like a UFO, whether that's true. So yeah, what you got to understand about the Egyptians, it was not gods, it was fallen angels. It explains it in the Book of Enoch. They rebelled against God, they came on earth, they corrupted humanity, they had sexual relations with women, they created the satanic offspring, and that's why you have these creatures. They create these like creatures that You see in medieval where they talk about these mythical creatures. They probably existed during those times. They rebelled. They taught man about nuclear weapons. They taught man about war. They taught man about every single thing that man would know. And then they started impregnating them, creating their satanic offspring. It even talks about a mountain that the came down on, and then Jesus stood on it when he came on the earth and overruled it. So this is why a lot of these books were banned, because it exposes what really went on. They were creating satanic offsprings. They wanted to be worshipped as gods. He even says the sons of gods, and even God said they were they were corrupt. They started ruling the earth. God allowed them to rule the earth, and they started becoming corrupt. Started basically not doing actual proper things. They started being very, very corrupt. So God put a stop to it. That's why it says the fallen angels, and anyone that says it didn't happen, what happened in Enoch, then why are angels being chained up in Revelation? If none of this happened, what is said in the book of Enoch, then why are these angels being punished? It doesn't make any sense, does it? This is one. This is the one that I'm talking about. The scientific effort. See, you see, they're doing it. The scientific effort to extract and analyze DNA from ancient mummies for genetic research, molecular cloning, and modern day replicas of artifacts. But of course, they're going to say not actual cloning. Sure, we're going to believe that one, aren't we? And then again, they admit it. Although discussions involve ancient Egyptians could be cloned. It makes sense why Michael Jackson looks like one of the pharaohs. They probably cloned him. They cloned him, and then when they were done with him, that's what it is. Ain't cloned, and what they'd be like, scientists successfully cloned ancient DNA in the 1980s. So they admit they've cloned these ancient Egyptian civilization, clone their DNA. And yet it's a conspiracy, you people keep saying. They've admitted that they've cloned the DNA of these ancient mummies, but they'll lie and say, no, we haven't used that for our own satanic agenda. We're not trying to resurrect these people and make them in modern day era. Lies. They've done it. So they did it in 1980s, revealing genetic links to modern populations, while Egypt also produces high-tech replicas for museums, sometimes called clones. Scientific cloning and DNA research. Early success. 1980s researchers successfully performed molecular cloning of DNA from a 2,400-year-old Egyptian mummy child, proving DNA fragments could be isolated and studied. So they've got the DNA. And what did they say? 2,400. What was the one that looked like Michael Jackson? 3,000 years old. They did it. They're not going to tell you, though. This is what they do. These ancient, because America has got an obsession with the Egyptians. They've got an obsession with it. The reason they got an obsession is because a lot of the so-called Egyptian gods that people worship were fallen angels. That's what they were. It's a proven fact. All these gods like Zeus, um, the sun god Ra, they were all fallen angels. These were the fallen angels that rebelled against God. They came down to earth. That's why they've got. I mean, why do you think in the origin? Why do you think in these ancient tablets? I need to see how long it's been. Why do you think in these ancient tablets that they've got these like creature-like things with wings? They were fallen angels, and everyone worshipped them as gods. The reason it talks about it in the Book of Enoch talks about that humanity worshipped them because of what they get, what the fallen angels gave man. The fallen angels gave man technology, and in in response to that, man started worshipping them, and that's why the flood was done, because man was worshipping fallen angels. It's just a fact. Why else would the angels be being chained up? They rebelled. They've done more than what you think they've done. And that's why the Book of Enoch was banned. They didn't accept it because it exposes what they did. They rebelled and then decided, hey, we're going to teach man about nuclear weapons and weapons of destruction. And that's why God is going to throw them where they're going. And they're going to be chained up. It even says in the Book of Enoch that a lot of these will be chained up and punished along with the devil. So yeah, they admit that they've been cloning the Egyptians. They've successfully got DNA from these Egyptians, cloned them, but they're not going to tell you, oh, we've actually cloned an ancient Egyptian, and now you're worshipping them. This is facts. And again, look, cloning pharaohs. One of them's already been, well, I'd say probably two of them have been cloned. Discussions about cloning ancient pharaohs like Turkan are purely focusing on whether technology could bring back a person's genetic makeup. Well, it can, they've already done it. But they're not going to tell you that, though. Because this is what I said, this technology, they didn't make it up. They got given it by the fallen angels. All this technology. How do you think? Because if you really think that man came up with the nuclear bomb, you really are dumb. Einstein did not come up with it. They got taught it by these angels. Mass weapons of destruction. Man was never ever supposed to obtain weapons like these. I mean, we're talking about a weapon here that can annihilate the whole entire earth. You really think that God intended for humans to obtain these weapons that can annihilate the face of the earth? In nuclear weapons anyway, it's very obvious they're not from this world. They even admit that it's atom. It's outside of the earth. So they admit it. It's atom. And it destroys all life. So what these the weapons of destruction. And then they're reviving these pharaohs, which were, a lot of them were probably devil worshippers, and then getting them to fulfill their, because again, why has the music industry got such an obsession with Egyptian? Why have they got such an obsession with the Egyptians? Because again, they want to clone them, and America is modern day Egypt, and it's just a fact. Hence why they have that city called I think it's the desert, where it looks like Egypt. Las Vegas looks like Egypt. You can't tell me that America doesn't have a sick obsession with the Egyptians. They do. Because the reason they want to revive them is because a lot of them were probably fallen angels. So, and they work with the fallen angels, we know that, it says that. Our battle is against spiritual darkness, not actual physical things. So yeah, they work with the fallen angels, they work with the devil, and that's why, again, the fallen angels go all the way back to Egypt and all these ancient civilizations. So all these gods that all the other cultures are worshipping, they're just all fallen angels. That's all they are. That's exactly what they are. So yeah, showed you the truth. People, as I said, people scoff at this because they always do. They just laugh at these people. These people will never wake up to the truth, even if it was right in front of the face. They are doing these things. Exactly. And before I end it, they've already admitted. What was that thing where they had they were talking about doing it? Because what people think about AI technology, transferring the consciousness, it already does that. Because this is what the Egyptians actually believed. They believed that if they mummified themselves because they believed in reincarnation. What is reincarnation? Reincarnation, if you reincarnate as somebody else. But what the Egyptians believed, that if they mummified the body, the spirit would go in a different body. So in reality, they're just transferring their consciousness from these ancient Egyptians into a new body. A clone. That's what a clone is. They're just transferring that consciousness into a new body. So it's a form of reincarnation. So yeah, it's already going on. They're doing it. They've done it with animals, they've done it with humans, but they just won't tell you. They'll tell you about the animals, but they won't tell you about the humans. Because no, people freak out. If the government came out tomorrow and told everyone, "Oh, we're cloning humans now," what do you think's going to happen? People are going to want to clone themselves, and then it's more harder to control people. Instead, they use this technology for their own sick agenda. So yeah, no one else is going to talk about this because again, they live in this world, this matrix where they don't actually question anything. So yeah, and yeah, I just wanted to make this video because it's the truth. It is honestly the truth, and it shows further the sick agenda of what Hollywood and all that is really about. And take care, everyone. Have a great day. See you in the next live stream whenever I do one. Take care.